Well, good evening, and really, it's a pleasure, joy to be part of Rotary, and to be here, to be invited. It's a great, great pleasure, and honor, really. I don't remember, gentlemen, earlier in the afternoon, I was going to my room, and he stopped me, and he asked me, he said, "You're speaking tonight, aren't you?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Why the hell did you come on Thursday?" I said, because I think it's very important for me as a Rotarian to know people who I'm speaking to, and what you are doing that makes me so proud, and also that makes me to go forward, really, what I'm doing. I think we are all in the same boat, and we have to really cross together, whatever we do in life. Before I really talk more, I think if we could show my video, that will give you a little background of what I do.
We're traveling with Razia Jan, from her home in Kabul City to the little village of Des Subs on the edge of Kabul province. She's taking us to the girls' school she started here.
The day before we were opening the school, some men came inside and said, "Please make it into a boys' school, because the boys are the backbone of Afghanistan and they need this help." And I said, "Well, you know that the women are eyesight of Afghanistan." And I said, "Unfortunately, you all are blind." Hi, Mimi. Hi, how are you? Hi.
And in a village where all the women wear burqas, Razia stands out. I'm finding mostly for standing up for the girls.
Assalamu alaikum. Stop! Hey! Nani buna gitti plastik? Çand roz ki set şudan ami naam
In a meeting with teachers, Razia tells them to make sure the youngest students quickly learn to write their father's names. Something as small as this can go a long way in making families feel proud and change men's attitudes about educating their daughters.
My name is Zakia, my father name is Mamazi.
Before the first week of school is finished, that's exactly what first graders know how to do. The village elders come for meetings throughout the year. The religious leaders are here, the mayor. Most of the men in this room send their daughters here, which is an important message to the whole community that this school matters. Still, by the way most of them avoid eye contact with Razia, it's clear they're not used to a woman being in charge.
And their heads were down because my head was way up high, because I wanted to look in their eyes and say that you have to make a change.
Razia has a special relationship with the school's oldest students. She tells them that studying is not a sin and that no one has the right to prevent them from being here. This is the class of 2015, the very first graduating class from the very first girls' school in the village of Des Subs, Afghanistan. I think we are servers. We all have to give to make somebody else feel better. And I think that's what I did, and which makes me very proud and happy. And and now it's amazing that what came out of this, a beautiful school, and I'm so proud of these girls that are there for the past 7 years and getting education and thriving, literally. I mean, that is my joy that I cannot, I think I can't even share with anybody, because I know where they came from and I know where I came from. So that is amazing. Amazing thought and amazing feeling,
I'm so proud of these girls. I think it's just, that was 7 years ago, and now it's our 11th year. We graduated 7 girls first year, 15 girls second year, 18 girls third year, and last year we graduated 27 girls. You know, it is in the world when you, a lot of countries, most of the countries, when you go and dig a well or make a school or do something, the whole village comes and they dance with you and they bring food for you and they want to help and they would put bricks there and so forth. But in this country, because of 40 years of war, things have changed tremendously. When I was growing up, I was given the same right as my brothers. There was no difference between us. But after 38 years, when I could go first time in 2002, things were so different that if you went to a village, and I worked with a lot of our military, and I would take like boxes and boxes full of toys and clothes and go with them to deliver in different villages. And when you gave a gift to a boy, he would just take it, a ball and a T-shirt, and then you gave a doll or a bracelet to a girl. 2 steps from there, the boy would snatch it, and if she didn't give him, he would start beating her. And I was like, how could I run? So many times I would run after them, the boys, to catch them, but I couldn't. And I thought that, wow, the world has changed, and it wasn't like this. And I think we can make a change. And how to make a change for women in that country to be really counted again and to give them a place in that society. Because when you asked a man, like these men would come and I would talk to them, and what they would say is that I would say, well, how many kids you have? And they would say 2. I said, excuse me, but 3 of your daughters are in my school. That doesn't count. I have 2 boys, you know. So I think the changes that it had to be made, and I knew that it is possible. And what is possible is only if you give education. Give education to women, and I think when you really educate a girl, you educate a whole family. But when you educate a boy, you just educate a boy. And that is really, it's not just with any place in the world, it's all over the world. And it's been proven that I think girls care more, and they create families, and they bring things together. So for me to do that was really very, very important. The first day, well, these guys came when the building was built, and these 4 men came. But the first day, when I was standing, cold day, 7th of January, to really, there was an engineer that told me that he'll come and see at this piece of land in this village. There was no road. We got stuck, and somebody pulled our little car out, and I'm standing there, and a gentleman comes to me near a dirt wall, and he comes and he passes me once, he passes me twice, and he doesn't have the guts to talk to a woman, really, because he's never seen a woman just standing like this with a scarf, no cover or anything. So he tells me, he says, sister, I would like you to go inside my house and have a cup of tea with my wife, and I could take care of everything. And I said, no, sir, thank you. And he left, and he came back after 20 minutes. I'm still standing. And he told me again, please go inside. I said, listen, man. I said, your wife really needs you. She doesn't need me. You go and sit with her and have a cup of tea. So he was really mad at me and he left. And then when we were doing the groundbreaking, you know, there were 35 men. And I was the only woman standing next to them. And there was a little bulldozer. We were trying to start digging to do the ceremony. There were the priest and the mayor and so forth. And a guy came running to me and said, Razia Jan, there's a message for you. And I said, yes, what's the message? He said, oh, so-and-so said that if you start this bulldozer, I'm going to come and lie down in front of this because I will never allow to build a girls' school. And I said, looking at these men, I said, tell him to come. I will bury him here alive. And then, I will put a flag saying this bastard never wanted a girls' school. Well, he didn't show up. And we did build the school. So I really continuously had problems with people that didn't want to have the school. And those men that came also, all they said is that this is your last chance. And I looked at them and said, what do you mean last chance? What are you going to do? He said, well, change it. Still you have time. And I said, I won't. And so we started with 101 girls. And today we have close to 700 girls. And I have 300 girls on waiting list in kindergarten, literally. I don't have room. I wish I had room that I would accommodate these 300 girls. You know, one of the old men came walking just before I was coming this year. He came to the office and he had a white piece of paper in his hand. And everybody was coming because it was beginning of the year. They wanted their girls to be admitted in kindergarten. And I said, I can't really. So the moment he entered, I said, I really respect you. You helped us so much. But please don't ask me to admit anybody. I have no room. I don't want to say no to you. He sat down and he said, Razia, I want to tell you, these two girls are so smart, they are better than my sons. My sons are idiots. And I want you to put their name on the list. They are just 2 years old. Put them for 2022 when they are 5 years old. And I said, well, I have up to 2021, so I'll make a start new list. And I put his granddaughter's name there. And he thanked me and he left. So it is something that people want to have really education. You know, my girls, that 7 girls that graduated, plus then 15 other, they came to me and said, Razia Jan, you know, graduation, 12th grade is nothing for us. Our families won't allow us to go anywhere. What can we do? I said, I'll build you a college. With my big mouth, which, you know, it's so hard to run the school. And here I promised to build a college. So I come back to US and I speak to my small group I have, and they said, you're crazy? We can't run the school, you want to build a college. And we did build a college. We did have 20 girls graduate last March with midwifery. And midwifery is something that was needed so bad. There is 40% death rate of women in those villages giving birth. And a child doesn't live more than 6 months. So for me to really think what I can do to benefit, if these girls are not allowed to leave the village, at least they can work within the community. And that's what we did. So this is just, we started our second batch of 20 girls. For 2 years, they will do the midwifery. With that, we are teaching them English and also computer science. So hopefully, if they are allowed, then they can do something different. Right now, I have 11 girls who are in American University in Kabul. 2 of them are with full scholarship, that they did their SATs, like you do SATs. They had to do TOEFL, and that is, for them, it's really hard, but we paid for it, and they did it. So 2 of them are with full scholarship, and 11 of them are now doing to get into undergraduate work. I have 1 young woman that got scholarship. She is doing medical in Turkey. I have 1 young woman that got full scholarship to go to Lebanon. So it is something that slowly the doors are opening. And I think these girls will be amazing to go forward. I'll tell you, a little child who was 5 years old, I had some Rotarians came from US, and there was 1 Canadian, 1 from US, and the woman asked this young kindergarten kid, what do you want to become when you grow up? And of course, she couldn't speak English, but she said, engineer. So the lady said, well, ask her, like, does she know what engineering means, 5 years old? And I said, do you know what engineering means? She said, wait a minute, I'm just 5 years old. Let me grow up, become an engineer. I'll come back and tell you what it is. And I said, well, we'll be 12 feet under the ground at that time. But their imagination and their thinking that they want to be something. And it is something that the only way we can provide this opportunity for them. You know, I have seen women beaten up because a widow, because she didn't have any male with her, going to the bakery to buy a piece of bread, and she had 1 white and 1 red socks. And Taliban, they caught her and took her to the stadium on Friday and shot her to death. First stoned her and then shot her. And they would do it every Friday. The woman, if they were widow, they didn't care. You know, this was their life, that they could not get out of their home. For us to give them this opportunity, and I couldn't do it without being a Rotarian. I didn't have money, I didn't have anything. I had 19 members in my club. And one day when I went a couple of times to Afghanistan, I came back and I told my club, I said, I want to build a school. They said, you're crazy? We can't raise anything. And I thought of an idea. Khalid Hosseini had written a book, first book, The Kite Runner. And on his first page, he wrote his daughter's name and then his son's name. He said, Sarah and Haris, and the children of Afghanistan are my eyesight. Well, I read that. And what I did is I found his email. I emailed it to him. I said, you said that these kids are your eyesight, and I really want your help. Would you come to my town, which is like 19 members, but come to our town and we would like to do a fundraising. You know, some of my Rotarians, he said, you know, he counted, he's a businessman, very good accountant. He counted. He said, you'll make $12,000, 7,000 will be expense, and 5,000 you'll make. I said, never mind, that's okay. We did, and we raised 75,000 that time. And 2 years later, that was not enough. He wrote another book, and I wrote him again. I said, would you like to come and speak again? And he said, sure. And he did. And we raised 65,000. And that year, in the winter, I went to Afghanistan, and I started building the school. So it is something that we have to find a way for somebody to help us, because one person can't do it. You have an idea, but you need 1,000 hands to really push you and be with you. If they are not physically with you, but mentally, they are there with you. I go every year. I lived there 7 years. And how to run, well, that was done, school was done. Now how to take it, really work with it so it is success. Because I didn't want those men to tell me I failed. And I was ready to do anything to continue to have a girls' school, not a boys' school. And how would I do it? You know, I stayed there and I would sew my head off, make these jackets like this, and I would sell them in the embassies, in here, in there, and whatever. And we survived. We survived because my organization is so small that no USAID, no Bank America, no World Bank, they laugh at me. They say, we can't help you. So my sources are only Rotarians. Through the Rotary clubs, I have computers, I have desks, I have a bus that is almost falling apart. I need a new bus. But these are the things that we individuals can do really. And we can go forward each day. It's a challenge. You know, we needed the 3rd floor because 2 years ago, there was a lot of kids. So I thought I'll build the 3rd floor. And when I was building the 3rd floor, there was people, I always call people the men every 3 months, and I talk to them. And I ask them, if I have done anything wrong, tell me. But I never listen to them. And I never do what they want me to do. I pretend that I understand, but I'll do what I think is good, best for these kids. My mission is them. So I call these people and they come and one guy stands up and says, oh, you can't have any windows on 3rd floor because they'll see our homes, because it's dirt homes and it's 3-story building. And I said, we can't have rooms without windows. I just asked him, I said, excuse me, how many kids you have here? How many grandchildren? He said, 36. I said, from tomorrow, they are not coming to school. Sit down. He sat down, very mad. Another guy his father is our guard, night guard. We pay him every month. He stays with us at night. He stands up and he says, you can't have windows. I said, your son works for us, isn't he? He said, yes. I said, he's fired. And I fired him. And his son till today curses his father. When he sees me outside, he has a small store out. He said, the hell with my father, I lost my job. But, but I was going to I'm more secure care about my girls. I don't want anybody to look at them and shoot them or whatever. So I said, I'll have windows with roses and things like this. And so this is what we did, so nobody can see in or out. And so we were doing that, and I was standing up there, and a guy, my guard, came and said, well, there's a guy with an X. He really doesn't like your windows, and he wants to come and break all the windows. And I said, well, tell that guy I am with 2 X's. Let's see who gets first up. So he just rumbled and walked away from me. It is something that people want, but they have false pretense of that we don't want, really. We shouldn't have it. But in their heart, they do want, because it's making a difference in their lives, in their sons' lives, in their whole family. The boys are doing better because the girls are helping these boys to study. And they help them with their homework and so. Father who could not write or read, and he would go to 8 homes to somebody to read any notice or anything from anywhere. And now he doesn't have to. The girl can read, and it's no problem. So it is something that these girls are making a difference. And I think that eventually my girls will be president. They will be really ministers. They have a great, great future. And the only thing is for us to continue helping them. Our school is 100% free for these girls. They're very poor. Believe me, in winter they don't have shoes. I buy them winter shoes. I buy them winter jackets. I buy them all their uniforms. And I do the best. I care for my students. The first day when you saw those teachers, I told them, I said, if you ever touch a girl, you are out, without question, without why did you do it. I said, there is no why. So far in 11 years, 10 years, I've fired 2 teachers because one pulled, just last year, pulled the girl's ear. And I didn't even know. I had just gone that very day, and I was going through the hall, and a child said to the other one, well, she didn't pull it too hard, but she pulled her ear. So I just went in the classroom. I asked the kid. She said, this is what happened. And I went to the class, and this teacher that I really didn't even know, because she was just hired. I went to the class, and I asked her, where's your pocketbook? And she said, there. I said, could you be kind enough to pick it up, please? And she picked it up and said, come with me. And we walked to the gate, and I said, go home. I'll send you your 1 month's pay. Don't you ever come back, because you are not allowed. The reason is that these girls get every day either from a brother or father, because things have changed. These girls are more independent, and they get that nasty look or that push or whatever it is in the family, complain, or mother, or you're not working and you're not helping me, or so and so forth. So for us to have the school as a heaven for them, a place that they can have friends, a place that people can really be happy, these girls. And that's what I want. And that's what I try to do for these girls. And so far we are, thank God, successful. These girls are growing very beautifully. Fortunately, we have no accidents, but please believe me, every day that I travel, come from the town or city and come to this village. Every day I say my prayers because somebody could shoot me dead because they don't want me to have a school. So every day is a challenge, but you know, I tell people, they tell me, you're crazy. Why do you go? You don't have to. And I tell them that you have a purpose in life. And if you give up that purpose, your life is not worth a dime. And you don't have to live really. So if I'm scared for myself, then I can't really go forward, and my life is not worth anything. Every day I go forward, every day I want to do something good. 24 hours I think about these girls. What can I do to make it better for them? And I think with all the Rotarians, with all the help that I get, I think we are doing great. And I hope that you guys will help me to continue this. Maybe in 10 years I don't have to, because they themselves may be able to take care of themselves. But right now, after 40 years of war, these girls have no choice, no chance, and I'm the one kind of to push them forward and to make it possible for them to get education. Because education is something that no matter what happens to you in life, nobody can steal it from you. You always have that. I thank you very much. I really appreciate. Outside, I have some sponsorship forms. If individuals can sponsor a child, that would be great. You will get a picture of her, you will get a letter of her, and then 6 months later, you will get another picture and another letter. It's very well organized. We try to do, you know, my executive director, who's from Massachusetts, she's a widow from 9/11. And she has been, without her, I couldn't do anything. She has financially helped us when we are in a ditch. She has physically, mentally helped us to go forward. So it is something that we all, different people, are together to make this thing possible. And really, I hope that one day I could bring my students to be an exchange student. Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much. Thank you.